Scanning for audio.
Welcome to yet another Tin Dog podcast. Classic Doctors, New Monsters, number 5, Faithful Friends. I honestly thought they'd run out of new monsters to do with this. And here we've got 4 stories. Now, normally, right, I embrace this kind of thing. But I was worried when I saw the list of creatures that were going to appear in this. I know they use the word monsters in the front, but I can't do that because it's Doctor Who and they're creatures. I know they're not, in Star Trek, they're not alien, they're alien races. But in Doctor Who, they're not always monsters. So creatures works for me, yeah? Basically, non-human. But I was trepidatious, and I'll be honest with you, it took me a while to get through all of these stories, which is unlike me. But it's a 4, well, I only use the word 4 disc, but you know what I mean. It's 4 stories, which is a lot of time to dedicate to something. So you are getting your money's worth. And if you like the new creatures, then this is good for you. However, one of them's the monks. We all had bad experiences of the monks. You can't tell me that you didn't, right? The Krillitane, yeah, I mean, all right, they were in that great story with K9, and, bloke out of Buffy. Oh, on the subject of which, would you like me to be doing reviews of all the old classic Buffys? Or perhaps all the old classic X-Files? I know that's been mentioned in the past, and perhaps I should be doing that. Perhaps I should do, once a week, a classic episode of something. Is that something you'd be interested in? Please feel free to use Blue Sky and contact me, or Twitter, or even email me. Any of the things. Even put a comment on the bottom if you're listening to this on YouTube. Right? I'm not trying to get you to leave comments so that I can mess with the algorithm. I don't have enough subscribers to even matter that sort of thing. What matters here is that I just want to know what you think about what I should be doing. So, as I said, this has not been my favourite box set. But I think that's more to do with what was going on. Okay, so Episode 1 of these 4 and Episode 3 fit together. You know what? Let's just chat about it. 4 new adventures featuring classic doctors encountering monsters from the new series of Doctor Who. This is the first one. The Krillitane Feint by John Dorney. John always pulls out, the stops and gives us something that we weren't quite expecting. So, the TARDIS brings the Doctor, Jamie and Zoe to a planet where a secure research base is conducting disturbing experiments. A group of captive Krillitane, I keep saying Krillitane, are subjects for military power, keen to understand the species' unique abilities, but who are the real monsters here? So that's it. It's a base under siege. I don't want to say more about what's going on because that's a world of spoilers. And trust me, they work. This story does work. It works on paper. It works well. We've got, young Troughton's second Doctor. And it's all coming together beautifully. You've got the Zoes. You've got Jamie going on. It's great. It just feels like you can almost see it in black and white. It's just pulling together beautifully. Then you've got The Dying Breed by Tim Foley. I was not looking forward to this. Here's the description. See, I like Tim Foley's work. When the Doctor, Leela and K9, it's been ages since we had a K9 story, land on the Lupari homeworld, tracking a temporal anomaly, they find a kingdom in disarray. The Great Lord Garzan's son has been attacked, and strange beasts roam the frozen landscape. Whilst Leela spars with the new heir, the Doctor and K9 must work out how all these strange events are connected. Little did they know their discoveries will shake the Lupari to their core. I don't want to tell you what the discovery is. It's part of the narrative. That's fine. But I was never really fond of the Lupari, and I know I'm probably in the minority on this one. They were a great piece of rogue Doctor. What are we calling Joe Martin's Doctor? Did I miss the memo? Is it the Renegade Doctor? Is it the pre-Hartnell Doctor? Is it Dr. Ruth? I liked Dr. Ruth. That was a nice one to go with. Whatever it is, it's from that period. It's from Flux, but it's a pre-Flux thing because obviously their homeworld, which is a gigantic ring, which is very nice hard sci-fi story. Location works great, so that's fine. Got no issues there. So that fits. I just wasn't a big fan of that dog race. I kept picturing what they looked like on screen, and I know, I'm an old-fashioned Doctor Who fan. I should be able to suspend my disbelief and go with it. But it just didn't click for me. It didn't. And that's not good. The performances were cracking. But it just didn't quite click on TV, and that's what was dragging me back while I was listening to this. I think the Tom story might be one of the stronger ones. Sorry, I'm usually so enthusiastic about this, but this set just took a while to get through, and perhaps that was just me. But then you've got the third story, and this one was a slow thing for me. It really was, which is another John Dorney. And you know what? John does some smashing work. And here we've got the Doctor and Ray. Yeah, Ray, not quite sure how she ended up in the TARDIS, but that's fine. I might have gone in. You know what? I might have missed something and I might have forgot. I don't think I have. I would go to TARDIS Wikipedia, but that way is a rabbit hole that none of us should really go down. So, we've got the Krillitane relic. The TARDIS brings the Doctor and Ray to a space station cryogenic facility where interplanetary VIPs are stored pending medical cures. There is a familiar face here. The Doctor remembers, but who does not remember him? I'm going to have to give it away. It's Zoe, right? It's Zoe from the first story. You've got the same box set and it works. So obviously, is she going to remember him? Is it post-wheel? Okay, now here's another thing. You've got Sheila Hancock playing two parts. And Sheila Hancock's voice is very identifiable. Yes, she plays one of them as a Doddery person and one of them not as a Doddery person. But you're still going, that's Sheila Hancock. That's too big a part. It's too identifiable. I do think that she could have played possibly one part because she does a great job. But it did take me out of the story for a few minutes because normally when people do, voices played by the other actors, you can't tell. Well, very rarely. I mean, on the TV you could tell when Pertwee was doing the voiceover in the one with the eye patches. You know what I mean? So that's just a little niggle. I'm great because McCoy's brilliant in this, and Ray absolutely spot on as companion. You could see why she would have worked as an alternative to Ace. You really can. And then you've got, the one I was looking forward to the least, because I really hated the monks on TV. I mean, I hated those stories with an absolute passion. It just wasn't for me. Okay, Chris is on a date, but it isn't working. Perhaps he'll end over dinner, or on a cruise, or on a lunar spa. But who are the figures in red, and why are they so invested in his relationship? This one's by Tim Foley. Always does a nice job, Tim. But to be fair, so does John. Everybody works really hard and they produce some lovely stuff. But the monks were the thing that was hanging over me. The monks like living in their virtual reality worlds. The monks have their own rules and order and want to take over things, but you're never quite sure because on TV I didn't really care, to be fair, what they were trying to achieve. I just sort of signed out. And that's really not good of me. So I will put my hand up and say that now. I don't like their voices, and I don't like them when they're silent either. It's just weird. And so they are the overriding baddie to a storyline that's taking place in, let's face it, basically a holosuite, because that's where the monks tend to live. And they're trying to exist Sorry, it's an 8th Doctor story. Did I mention that one? And you've got the 8th Doctor, who is on a date or getting married to Chris. Now, because he's called Chris, I thought this was Chris from the earlier 8th Doctor storylines, which totally threw me because I wasn't able to tell the difference, because I have not listened to those for a while. So I was like, is this Chris? Is this Chris? Is it Chris? No, it's Chris. It's a different person. But is it not? Has he forgotten who he is, who he really is? Because there's a lot of people doubting reality in this, as you always get with the monk stories. So perhaps for me, if I was just reading through it, I might have changed the character's name. Now here's the important bit. There's a Geordie in this. I know it's the guy who was playing Token Geordie in the Cyberman story, but he's in this. And you don't get Geordies at Big Finish. Obviously, you get them who've been in Doctor Who and he turns up. But you do not get someone with a Geordie accent turning up in Doctor Who. So that is a plus point, because you don't get that in Doctor Who. Ever. There's like 2. All right, there's somebody in Genesis of the Daleks who happens to, in real life, be a Geordie, but that doesn't count, because they're not going, yeah, I'll eat leg. No, none of that. No, not at all. And you know what? That's fine. I don't think we deserve to be in space. Or do we? I don't know. Right. So what I'm saying is this didn't really ring through and true to me, because I don't really like some of the new monsters. And that was baggage that I was dragging along with me. Perfectly well executed, really well written, incredibly well acted. I just wasn't as engaged as I could have been. Perhaps it's just the place I currently am in my head. And you know what? Nobody ever considers that when you're talking to reviewers, do you? You never go, I wonder if they're having a bad day. I wonder if things are a bit shit. So anyway, moving on. Here's the trailer. Decide for yourself, as always. Until next time, be seeing you.
From Big Finish Productions, the worlds of Doctor Who. Classic Doctors, new monsters. Faithful friends.
Gather round, my cubs. Tonight, I tell you the tale of what happened here.
If you are the creatures that injured my brother, you will be ripped apart like the animals you are.
The destiny of the Lupari hangs in the balance.
Now that does sound ominous.
We're really in the lunar spa.
Not just a lunar spa, the lunar spa. You and the doctor are booked in for the full couples treatment.
I think we may have company. Figures in red. They're the monks.
The groom is near. He cannot escape.
Your skin, it's grey and cracked.
We require the truth.
Hello? I'm called the Doctor, and you're in a lot of trouble.
Another mutation. The famous Krillitane pens. How many would you say you had here?
Just a few hundred.
Hands in the air, now!
Oh dear. Not a good start, is it?
Does this sort of thing often happen to you?
Rather frequently.
What's going on here, Magda?
I don't know. A cryogenic facility. I wonder what Zoe's doing here.
So she's what? Undercover? Lying?
I don't know. Oh, Ray. I think I might have just made a terrible mistake.
Big Finish, for the love of stories.
That was the Tin Dog Podcast. Everything discussed is the intellectual property of others. No infringement is intended. If you've enjoyed this show via YouTube, please click like and subscribe. To contact the show, please email tin-dog@hotmail.co.uk or follow the show on Blue Sky at tindogpodcast.bsky.social. The Tin Dog Podcast is a founder member of the Doctor Who Podcast Alliance.